Welcome back to Enderal, where I think we might just be doing some shopping, possibly. Like our carry weight's good, so actually we're gonna move forward with our quest. We have a murder. Actually, let's go pick up the quest in the mayor's office. Whether we decide to go after it or not is another issue. Because we've got a murderer to chase after. Are you important? Oh, you were the girl from earlier.
Aren't you? From Araziel.
Maya!
Skin, it looks,
You're not from
different.
Riverville.
Oh, with red eyes.
What do you
Is he
want?
possessed?
Is that so? What does that have to do with yourself?
Why so distrustful? Maybe I might be able to help. For a price, of course.
Of course. And who are you? A Delgalar incarnate? Maybe you think you're smart trying to profit from my wife's misery. But guess what? You aren't the first quack to try this. You should be ashamed. Now be gone. You again? Listen, I'm really busy.
Look, I really do understand a thing or two about magic, and maybe I could help your wife.
All right then. I suppose it can't get any worse than it already is. Come, let's go upstairs.
Those are actually marked with the steel. Yeah, we don't know if there's a fence system in this game. Whether that stuff is even worth taking.
Well then, let's keep this short. For 3 moons now, Matilda has been hearing voices. Sometimes during the day, sometimes at night. There is no pattern. According to what she told me when she was still lucid, the voices seem to come from the sea. And it's a mixture of pleading, screams, and weeping. Maybe so. Or maybe it is some kind of a ghost, or a magical anomaly. Only Malphus knows. Since the night she first heard the voices, however, her health has been worsening. At first she lost her appetite. Then she started vomiting. To make things even worse, she now has a fever that gets more dire by the minute. Father Vildus is clueless, and even the 2 apothecarius who quickly passed through the village said they don't know
dead.
what's wrong with her. She has even stopped recognizing me lately, and talking to her has become impossible. I don't want to lie, stranger. I just don't know what to do anymore. If it keeps going like this, Matilda will not see the turn of the year.
And only she can hear the voices?
Yes, and the times when she hears them are her only waking moments. She then starts screaming, on and on, flailing around as if the Black Guardian stood before her. It's horrible to see her like that. My brother Meldor is a traveling arcanist, and has already examined the house for magical anomalies, all to no avail. Whatever causes these voices, it only affects her.
They say anything?
No. According to what she said to me when she was still lucid, they are just a babble of voices, and a horrible one at that.
Slightest idea.
No, not in the least. You know, Matilda is such a good person. If it is a ghost that has possessed her, then it must be a cruel one who only wants to see her in pain. And if it's a disease, that Malphus shall be damned for making her suffer like this. I'm sorry. I should not have said that.
It's fine. I will see what I can find out.
You. Maybe it helps if you were there for one of these Caesars. I don't feel comfortable about it, but if it could help, we have to give it a try.
Might be a good idea.
Just come back in a few hours' time. It hasn't been too long since she had the last one. Give me a moment with her until then, all right? My brother Meldor will let you in once it's time.
Okay. Witness the fit.
Ah, hello. You're the visitor Dugar told me about, right? The Outlander?
That's me.
Well, as ready as we can be. As Dugar probably told you, the seizures happen arbitrarily, but more often around this time. Come, follow me. While I do appreciate your endeavours, I'm a little sceptical as to what good it will do. Whatever is wrong with Matilda is not ordinary.
Walk blessed.
But I suppose
That I shall.
some chance is better than none, isn't it? You have a visitor, Dugar.
Thank you, Meldor. And thank you for not changing your mind. It could happen any minute now. Just take a seat and wait. And I warn you, this is not going to be pleasant. Oh, Matilda.
No, please. No.
Ah, and here we go.
They are coming.
Jigger.
They are coming back. No, 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 no. Please don't.
A murder.
There's no other way.
Is she a temptress who murdered
Fantastic.
somebody and is getting her comeuppance?
So?
I think I heard
Maybe
something.
You heard the voices? What are you? Some kind of medium?
Pentas.
Pentas? I don't know, but
That was the fisherman, don't you remember? The one who collaborated with the brigands and was killed when he tried to resist the arrest.
yes, of course. And his companion drowned herself afterwards. Poor thing. But I don't understand. What, by the righteous path, does that have to do with Matilda's sickness?
Was she messing around with the fisherman?
Something tells you this, I see. If the circumstances were any different, I would take you for a quack, trying to win my favor.
And maybe she
But
got
you seem
caught,
honest,
and then to
and I
hide the
shouldn't leave anything
evidence, the
untested.
fisherman had to be
Meldor,
sleeping
where
with the
was that fisherman's
fishes.
house again?
I have a map.
Then give it to him.
Of course, brother.
If Pentas really has anything to do with this, you should take a look at his old house. It should be abandoned. And now excuse me, both of you. I need some time for myself.
Very good. Are we going to team up?
Here, this is the map. His house isn't far from the village, but you should be careful nonetheless. I don't need to tell you that the animals have grown savage recently. This red madness, or whatever they call it.
Oh, knowledge. You said you were an arcanist, right? So, are you part of this holy order?
This holy order, by the gods, you really do have Outlander written all over your face. But no, I am not.
Oh, interesting.
I have, as all the magically gifted have, passed the walk to the water, but I didn't qualify to become a keeper or a magister. And to be honest, I didn't want to either.
Interesting. Not a wild mage nor a keeper.
A free arcanist, as are many others.
Okay.
But with all due respect, I think we should save the talk for later. Matilda's condition gets worse by the minute.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't have to do this in a second. It's not like they attached him to me as like a follower or something. Oh, they're learning stuff.
Hey, you there! You want to know a secret?
Sure.
A really great secret, you'll see. If you, give me 30 pennies and I'll tell
That's quite the secret.
you. Because I promise? Please! With those pennies I can have Mizir Gaxidoma make me a wooden horse like the one Sen has. Please.
Here you go.
Wait, let me count first. Wow, there really are 30. You're great. Thank you. So, do you know my sir Mitamael? The, what do you call it? The tanner.
That one, the marketplace?
Last night I heard these weird noises coming from his house, as if he was building something, so I snuck up to his window. He has this secret stash in his house. I think to open it, you have to pull these hidden levers, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe you, well, you know. Anyway, I have to go now. Thanks again.
That could be worth
Hey,
well
you're
north.
an adventurer, aren't you? Wow, that's nice armor you're wearing there.
Who are you?
Have you heard the news about the Magister?
Don't care.
Word has it that he murdered 30 novices
Okay.
and killed himself up in the temple.
So this guy, Manuel Tannerman, is this his place? Making some good stuff here. Gotta be a switch or something. Ooh. Okay. Thinking that that was going to open. Oh, a second switch. A third switch. Oh. The order matters maybe, so there's probably a third switch. And it's like I have to do them in a certain order. Hold those for now. Okay. So right there, on the left side of the fireplace. Like behind place maybe. Where could this switch be? Maybe I'm trying too hard here. It's right in front of my face. Oh, maybe there... I think it would be somewhere else, but maybe it's also nearby. It's not like above. Ooh, oh, cause that to fall over. I know it's like staring at me right in the face. It's gotta be. It's gotta be something stupid. Now they've all been at this height. So it would go to reason, oh, unless it's some clever trick. It should be, you know, roughly this height. Yeah. Should be something that doesn't look so much like a switch. Doesn't have like a classic bookshelf situation. Oh, right in my face. Yeah, I don't know if the order matters. So did that... Broken? What's going on here? Oh, did it break? Alright, well, the autosave should be right as I entered. So just go straight for it. Just be like... Up. 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 Okay. Up. Ugh. Unless there's a fourth one. It's possible. Stupid horse. So that's jammed. Okay. I'll do a quick save. Maybe a different order. No. Let's then reset. That one's... That came down. That one's jammed. Okay. But nothing happened. It might be quicker for me to not try to jump up. Oh, there it is. Sediment's Nomad Nimbus. Whatever that is. Very good necklace is what it is. So, figured it out. Can't sell it. I can use the book if it's useful. That's it. One-handed, which I'm not too interested in. Mana regen. I will take mana regen. Just need like even the tiniest of health regen and I will be in a very good spot. I think this is where we might have something to find for one of those little mini quests. Which one is it? Wife. Beauty elixir. Kill that guy. Wishing well, which is restrain arcane fever. Yeah, I think it's the well. It's like the source of a river. Anything down here? Nah. Oop. I see what I see. Can't come in the water, can you? Good. Got him. Is that a dude? Oh, it must be. Yeah, I don't want to get attacked. Or do I? I got the quick save. Let's just, I'm surprised they didn't attack me when the wolves did. That's just a pile of stuff. Oh, they know about me. Done for. It's not very good values. Yeah, vagrant dress is not a very good one, but it has some value. Cheese wheel. Surely there's more than that. Ooh, a shovel. Suspicious soil mound. These have tended to have good stuff. Good helmet. Spell tome. Sweet. Actually, I might have some halfway decent magic now. If I can afford it. I've got some high stuff, but that doesn't do too much. For some reason I needed that. For lightning. Shock, lightning. Chain lightning. Ward. Interesting. I think I'm good for now. Just gotta be ready for a quick switch. Nobody's guarding the backside? Ooh, Ice Claw. Yep. Fail. Nice. Good place to have a nap to regen. this... Help me get to the source. That would be up in the mountains, potentially. Possible path there. Not quite. And that's like a jump up the hillside, which is not what I'm looking to do. Ooh. Just do the damage I can for the onslaught. Maybe he doesn't see me. Or nav mesh issue? Hear him. There might be a stash or something here. Or a buddy. Is Leia. Iron Claymore. That's what I've been looking for all my life. Marksman. Yeah, if there's just like a highlight items spell, that would be the one. Alright, Iron Claymore. That's my new favorite. You can get unfavorited. So it's 8 weight. So it should... Yeah, that left-right's a little quicker swing, I feel. Somewhere in the bushes. Nope. Yeah, nav mesh your way up here, buddy boy. We'll just run around in circles forever. Just a standard coastal. Got 1, 2, 3 appears. Let's test out our Claymore. Oh. Okay, the other one got killed. Okay. Thought he was still alive. We're not doing great here. Let's see if I've got anything. Cabbage soup. Oh, and some pumpkins. Some movement through there. And this looks like another camp over there. Some mud crabs for some easy XP. Oh, some cows. They're probably peaceful. It's their Diablo cows. show up. Got a magic symbol. Haven't found too many, actually, now that I think about it. So it's like behind me now. I don't know if that makes total sense. Yeah, so I don't think that is the source that I thought I was looking for. Anything in here? Sometimes rats. Uh-oh.
Finally, some fun.
Oh, it's a human. Oh, man. I'm slowed. Damn. Wild mage. That's it for you. Some good value out of you, though. Oh, the Butcher of R. Do we really want to go through that read today? Oh, can't pick up nails? Sure, good value. Hat. Nah. It's good value. Just memory point. Oh, really? And we have the time. It's good that I didn't find it at the end of the episode. So let's begin The Butcher of Ark, Volume 2, The Nameless One. 2 of unknown number. Up to the present day, the origin and nature of this vision has remained a mystery to me. Who was the enigmatic woman? How had she entered my thoughts? Or was it not her, but merely a spectral image conjured by my inner workings, an embodiment of my subconscious? These were the questions that went through my head after I awakened. Yet I had not much time to ponder, for when I awoke, breathing heavily and soaked in sweat, I realized that something was different. Disoriented, I pushed myself up and rubbed my aching eyes. I looked around the room, my bones cracking, reluctantly as I turned my head left and right. Nothing. My surroundings seemed perfectly normal. Again I let my gaze roam the narrow room, from the heavy wooden door over the small wardrobe to the scribe's desk in the right corner, in which numerous tomes and scrolls lay in disorder. Uncertainty, I closed my eyes and focused inward, into myself. No, the repugnancy was not to be found in my surroundings. It stemmed from me. To be precise, it originated from a strange feeling in my stomach that was unknown to me back then. It was an uneasiness, dull and stagnant, a diffuse fear similar to the one we experience when we know terrible or challenging things await us. Nevertheless, the feeling seemed familiar, a sort of gloomy truth which had been suppressed in my subconscious all these years, and had now found its way to the surface, like glowing coal beneath a thin layer of fissured ice beginning to melt. Bewildered, I laid my hands on my stomach in an almost childlike manner. Of course it did not help. The strange and dull feeling remained. I rose dizzily and looked out of the narrow window above the scribe's desk. The vision had felt like an eternity. It seemed to have lasted no more than an hour in reality. Still, not a single sound from outside reached my ear, and the light was dim and pale. Only a pallid gray cone of sunlight brightened the dance of 100 confused grains of dust in the air. In addition to my inexplicable sense of uneasiness, I was nauseated, my eyes burned, and I felt weak. Water! I need water. I moved to the trough, which was fitted with fresh spring water, next to the heavy wooden door. My uneasiness grew stronger, and an absurd fear took hold of me. What would I see in the mirror of the water when I bent over the trough? The deformed and decayed grimace I had seen in the ruin? Or the unremarkable face of a man who lived his life ruled by coincidence and lack of alternatives instead of free will? I fought the urge to back away from the trough and made myself get on my knees in front of it instead. My fear was baseless. No festering maggots crawled from the face that stared at me in the reflection. No chapped skin revealing the flesh on the bones beneath. Just a dream. It's just a dream. I smiled weakly and confused at my own folly, cupped my hands to scoop some water, and drank in deep gulps. Then I sprinkled some water on my face, rubbed it on my body, my hair, my arms, and my feet. I took the brush of the boar bristles and scrubbed my skin until it started to bite. Finally, I took my brown priest robe from the cast iron book by the door, slipped it over my head, and leaned against the wall. I felt better, but not well. It was just a dream. I repeated the sentence several times in my thoughts in an attempt to banish the remnants of what I believed to be a nightmare. Yet the desired effect did not occur, for every time I closed my eyes, visions of my corpse flooded me and my uneasiness grew, as if it wanted to emphasize the dream's meaning. I sighed and did what I always did when I contemplated. I began to pace around my room. I remember all too well that this was the first time in my life that silence appeared oppressive to me. How I wished to hear the familiar creaking of cartwheels, the bright calls of the baker, or the bray of a donkey, but there was nothing, absolutely nothing to hear, not even the mournful singing of the wind which was usually omnipresent in Fogville. With the pale light in my chamber, I felt like part of a materium morning tableau. Over and over the same images flashed through my mind. The coffin, the corpse, the veiled woman and her words, "Follow the fire, end your false life." Was there a connection between these words and the dull feeling in my stomach? Why did I dream of such things at all? What, by the righteous path, did it mean? My countenance clouded. False life? What a heap of nonsense. I lived exactly the life the path had chosen for me, even if from time to time gloomy thoughts occupied my mind and I felt envious of the adventurers who took a rest in Fogville before continuing their journeys. It did not mean that my pious life was in any way false. No, I was lucky that I did not have to live by the side of my miserable father smearing grease on animal hides. I was even luckier not to be one of the ill-fated people who cut each other's throats for a stale piece of bread in the Undercity of Ark. I pinched the bridge of my nose, squeezing my eyes shut. These are the very thoughts that make path-abiding people stray from the path. They become attracted to an insane vision of an adventurous life and get drawn into suffering and misery. I recalled the terrible stories which occasionally reached Fogville. It were always the egoists and those who hungered for power who dragged innocent people into ruin along with them. I dropped my hand and opened my eyes. No, my life is exactly as it should be. Is that so, Jael? I startled. What in blazes? Irritated, I moved around, trying to find the voice's origin. Nothing. I was alone. But then, where had this voice come from? I must have imagined it. It had come to that. I was hearing voices. This dream is driving me insane. Angry with myself, I started pacing again. But after only 2 steps, the voice resounded again in my head, and along with it, the dull feeling in my stomach burned like a blazing fire in the wind. Images and feelings rose in my consciousness, heavy and pressing, but familiar at the same time. This time the voice spoke with a mixture of mourning and mockery. How much longer do you want to close your eyes to the truth? What needs to happen to make you finally understand? I tumbled backwards, not so much because of the words, but due to the sensation they triggered. Thoughts fluttered through my mind like a flock of startled birds, and they did not only revolve around the scenes from my dream anymore. I saw myself lying on my bed, drenched with sweat, shivering. I saw myself gloomily staring off in the distance while Mater Pylea read out the path to me. With these thoughts came a crawling uneasiness, a sense of loneliness and fear. Instinctively, I pressed both hands against my stomach. By the righteous path, I'm losing my mind. Damn it, I'm actually losing my mind. I turned around fast like lightning and hastened to my desk, upon which lay an open, leather-bound folio. It was handwritten, transcription of the path that I had started just before the festivities of Star Summer Night. For 5 decades now, it had been possible to reproduce written works in an almost magical manner, thanks to the strange press-like construction of a cunning starling researcher. It was called letterpress. Due to the mechanics of the machine, manual transcription, however, was still considered a sign of spiritual commitment. There was something meditative about it. It was calming, which was what I needed to banish the rising panic. Hastily, I adjusted my chair, opened the inkwell, and took the quill. Work frees the mind, I told myself. I was encouraged by the fact that the barrage of strange images and the feeling they brought on had subsided. It had been a dream, nothing more. A frightening dream indeed, but a dream nonetheless. Yes. Concentrate, write a few more pages, recite a verse, and the spook will be gone. Nothing will remind me of the disfigured body of the coffin of you, and tomorrow I will be able to continue my meaningless life. Indeed, it will be business as usual, and then one day I will die in peace, without having seen the truth at all, an insignificant pale number among thousands. And no one will ever remember you, J.L. Tanner's son, the nameless one, and only now did I realize that sweat was pouring down my forehead, and that I was clenching the quill so hard that my hand was starting to hurt. The sentences I had written were scrawled and full of mistakes. I dropped the quill. Witchcraft! This is witchcraft! I slammed the door shut, closed my eyes, and attempted to clear my mind like Master Pylea had taught me. Breathe, Jael, breathe! My entire body trembled. My pulse hammered into my wrists. There was no doubt that the voice came from within me. It was part of my thoughts, yet so unfamiliar, threatening, and lurking. It is futile, Jael, the voice suddenly whispered. You cannot escape destiny. End your false life. End it here and now, and follow the fire. There was a moment of silence. Or else you will die. As the last word faded from my mind, fear exploded inside me. It shot up my spine and spread from there, to my heart, to my fingertips, to my skull, straight into my brain. Again and again I pictured the horror from my dream, interspersed with strange memories of seemingly random moments in my life. I saw myself pacing between the benches at the temple without orientation. I saw myself preparing a corpse for its last journey according to Enderalian tradition, weeping. I saw myself lying feverish in bed, breathing heavily, eyes wide open. But it were not the images which made the situation so unbearable. It was the suffocating sensation that covered everything like a leaden gray cloud, threatening to drive me insane. Fear and panic, bitter loneliness and desolation. I felt as if I was standing at the edge of a pitch-black abyss, lost and without identity. I felt alone. It might be hard for you to comprehend the description. Perhaps it helps if I attempt to explain how the human mind functions. If something terrible happens to someone, such as the death of a loved one, our mind reacts with a kind of shock. Only part of what we should be feeling is allowed to enter the immediate conscious experience. The rest is banished to the depths of our subconscious, buried like an unloved, dangerous secret. Once the mind has recovered somewhat, the banished remains of the memory will be unearthed, piece by piece, so that we can deal with them and complete the mourning process. If, for some reason, this reworking does not take place, the memories will decay and fester until their presence becomes noticeable. We feel gloomy, suffer from panic attacks, or lose the ability to feel emotions entirely. Though it is possible to live under such conditions until one dies, the buried memories consume much of our vital energy, and in the worst case drive us to strange deeds. While the tentacles of fear raged in me, I realized that these terrible feelings were exactly such decomposing memories. They had been like there forever, lurking shadows beneath a shield of glass. I noticed them in brief moments, small and insignificant. Sometimes the deepest of night, when I awoke from a nightmare, clammy with sweat and unable to recall what I had just dreamt. Sometimes in small fissures of thought which haunted me while I performed perfectly normal tasks. For a few heartbeats I was filled with a misty gray loneliness, and I felt as if I was an observer of myself, the spectator of a hypocritical, bigoted play, my false life. I lived a lie, a desperate effort of my mind to conceal something in me that could not be concealed. A secret, something I had suppressed and could not hold at bay any longer. Now it had been broken free and remorselessly showed me what would happen if I did not begin to search for the truth. Death. You are dying. Yet some among you might realize that insights and actions are very opposing things. Even though the voice had forced me to look at it, and I had looked at it, I did not want to accept it. I uttered a guttural cry, threw my writing utensils off the desk, and knocked down my stool. With my bare fist I hit the wall of my chamber, ignoring the burning pain that shot up my arm. I wanted to banish the feeling inside me somehow, so I could get my old life back. But my resistance was in vain, and every second that passed amplified the panic constricting my throat, drowning me like an overpowering flood. Only when my breath was but a weak gasp I sank to the floor, back against the wall, face buried in my hands, exhausted. It is futile. I felt the salt of my tears burning on the cheeks and sobbed like a child. What shall I do? By Malthus, what shall I do? I uttered with a shaky, miserable voice. For a while nothing happened. Then I heard the voice again in my thoughts, tender, melancholic. You already know the answer, Jael. She told you what to do. This time the voice did not aggravate my loneliness. No, for a moment I almost felt secure, and in this moment I made my decision. Yes, she was right. I knew what I had to do. I knew it, and I had always known it. Yet, like a fledgling soldier who did not understand that the tales about glorious wars were merely tales until he lost his leg, I had to see my own death in order to understand. I had to start searching for the buried truth. At the time, it was obscure to me what the veiled woman had meant by the fire. Was the fire a symbol of the truth? Truth behind the feeling of emptiness and loneliness I had learned to suppress and could not suppress anymore? The newborn man who later became known as the Butcher of Ark did not yet know that he would soon find the answer to this question. My memories of the hours immediately after my decision are only vague. It would be wrong to assume that the oppressive feeling in my stomach had vanished after I had gained insight into its nature. No, it was still there, and each time doubt surfaced while I was packing my belongings. It grew stronger and more present, like a master who was determined to keep a weak-minded student on the right path by using reprimand and sharp words. Yet I felt determination I had never felt before in my life. Indeed, I felt a spirit of optimism, as absurd as it might sound after what had happened to me. After I had collected all my belongings, I left the temple, which had been my home for more than a decade. One last time I took in its awe-inspiring interior. There it stood, Malthus's stone statue, clad in a massive steel harness, looking ahead with determination. In his left hand, the statue held a replica of broken chains. The right hand pointed forward, showing the way, proudly and full of power. One last time I closed my eyes and smelled the omnipresent mixture of incense, lavender, and roses. The scent was used to provide comfort. Now it tickled unpleasantly in my nose and reminded me of the ointment the inhabitants of the Isles of Kile used to embalm their dead. Swallowing heavily, I closed the door behind me. The contents of the satchel that hung over my shoulder were scarce: a loaf of fresh Enderalian bread, a water skin, my scratchy cotton blanket, a sachet of pennies, and a Holy 101 verses, which I decided to bring along after a moment of hesitation. The book felt heavy, and its leather binding seemed rough and well sticky. Nonetheless, my attachment to the Lightborn, whose holy word formed the spiritual compass for any devout Enderalian, and who had been the only companion in my lonesome life so far except for Mater Pylea, was too deep. One thing was clear to me. Wherever my journey would lead me, I needed food and decent clothing. My priest's robes were too heavy and cumbersome, and they would be too warm in the summer. They also seemed like a burden to me, completely inappropriate for the task ahead. Even though every traveler, brigands aside, would treat me with respect, the robes were a symbol of my old life as a priest. So I had to visit the marketplace and find a trader who would sell his wares despite the holy day. It felt strange to see the place that usually was full of people so empty and quiet. Only a dog noticed my presence, plus a few chickens in a corral surrounded by an alcove of the weak town wall. The sun had risen in the meantime, but the many gray clouds did not allow much light to shine down on the city. It was going to rain. Eventually I reached my destination, a small and cozy store. The house walls were overgrown with ivy, which framed even the milky windows beneath the crooked roof. A handcart full of barrels and crates in front of the entrance looked as if it had been abandoned by its owner during work, which was likely considering the smell of alcohol, gunpowder, and fried meat in the air. Garlands which would have shone in all colors of enough sunlight had been present, hung limply between the houses. Several times I heard a crunch when I stepped on the shards of broken jugs. The sign next to the heavy door identified the shop as Carvi's Sundries. I wonder if that shop exists in the real world here. I knocked, and I knocked again. With a few minutes probably it's playing Fogville though, had pressed without any reaction. Finally, after the third round of knocking, I heard the sound of shuffling steps, and an aged starling with clean-shaven face and a sharp nose opened the door. His tired expression told me he had intended to chase off the unwanted customer before he recognized me. The dark circles under his eyes betrayed he was likely among those who had vigorously celebrated Star Summer Night. Briefly, the sight struck me as bizarre, even familiar, as if I had experienced it many times before. However, the feeling was gone the moment the merchant spoke with a warm voice. "Well, father," he glanced uncertainly at the embroidered emblem of a stylized eye and sword on my robe. "Can I help you?" I tried to smile. "Indeed you can, by showing me your wares. May I enter?" I was surprised by how confident and friendly my voice sounded. Kavari regarded me with sleepy confusion. Like all starlings, he was small and wiry, had frizzy hair and a pointy nose. Carvi was a path-abiding man. Every week he and his many children visited the three masses, which was the reason I had chosen his store to purchase clothes for my ludicrous journey. His respect for the clergy was great, so he would not ask questions. I did see the question why by the righteous path a village priest would visit a store this early in the morning on a day most people were recovering from a night of revelry and celebration in his eyes, but my estimation proved correct. He did not voice it. Instead, the merchant nodded devoutly, stepped aside, and let me in. Unlike the somber landscape surrounding Fogville, Carvi's house had a rustic and cozy feel. The fireplace in the large room at the end of the hall was crackling. For a second, I spotted a young girl peeking through a door at the top of the stairs on the right of the entrance. I envied the starling child and her siblings. Their father had given them a home and a sense of security I'd never had with Gilman. When Pylia had taken me under her wings, it had already been too late. The wooden walls looked solid but old, and the large fur of the coast stalker hung on the left side. These descriptions, this might exist somewhere. Reluctantly, I took a step forward and almost tripped over the many shoes on the floor. I heard the door behind me slam shut, and Carvi cleared his throat. "This way, father," he said, and walked towards the large sales room, which I had heard the crackle of fire. It was an amazing sight. Behind the wooden counter, which separated the seller's realm from the customers, numerous items, chests, boxes, and pieces of furniture were piled up. Huge bookshelves along the walls were filled with dusty folios, scrolls, crystals, and small caskets. The store looked insignificant from the outside, but I suspected some precious antiquities could be found here. "Well, what exactly do you need, father?" the starling finally inquired. I was unable to answer, taken aback by my own uncertainty. What did I actually need? I wanted to embark on a journey to find the mysterious woman from my dream, and I had a hunch that I might not end in Enderal. "Well," I started, "everything you need for an extended journey." Carvi's brows furrowed. "A journey? To where?" Apparently realizing his indiscretion, he quickly added, "If you don't mind the question." "I am traveling to Ark," I improvised. The longer before he would tell anyone my getaway, the better. "The High Priest asks for us." That seemed to satisfy the merchant. "I understand." He lifted the hatch on the counter. "I am all the more honored by your visit to my store." I nodded and let him walk me through his wares. About half an hour later, I was relieved of 102 pennies. I had purchased a sturdy knapsack, a good pair of boots, a hooded traveler's cowl, and an old iron dagger, which I did not know how to use. Carvey had also sold me a traveler's staff he said was favored by pilgrims who visited the 7 way shrines. "It is perfect for repelling insects," he had told me trustworthily. As a farewell, I had blessed him and left with a priestly smile. I continued to the tavern to get my provisions for my journey. The mattress, defying his lack of sleep, was diligently cleaning up the remains of the festivities. He responded to my early visit with confusion as well, but after some explanation about my plans, he sold me a loaf of tasty bread, dried fruit, and a tub of pickled whisperweed, which was popular among travelers because of its durability, for a good price. He also asked for my priestly blessing, which I gave him with a strange feeling. The holy act felt more wrong than ever before, and the ceremony seemed not like routine, but a lie to me. The guardsman Vlius was the last person I encountered before I got to walk down the hill upon which Fogville was located. He was too tired to ask for my destination. Obediently, he opened the wooden gate and wished me to walk blessed. As I left Fogville behind, melancholic relief washed over me. Within a few hours, I'd ended the life the veiled woman had described as false. Nobody would notice my absence until late in the day. Oh, and I will also take the book. So, that was nearly a 20-minute read. Very extensive. And I had determined that this is kind of a dead end to that quest that I was trying to solve with the, like, oh, find the source of the river or whatever. I could do that. Well, if I can just enable all these, just enable all of them. Why not? So I'm there. That was kind of a bust. How do I... Custom destination? How do I destroy? Want to remove the marker. Okay, that's all I want. We've killed this guy. Find this. We're actually supposed to Hotel Jaspar. Jaspar's here? Thought he's up there. That's interesting. Yeah, so everything's down south, so I think that's the way we need to go. See if we can take this stag. Oh, he's got health on him. That's some health. Iron? Oh, I'm in combat? Yeah, so I guess combat occurs as long as he's running away. Yeah, he's probably long gone now. Give me my iron. Okay, it's just iron. I can live without a little iron. You have to find anything really good. Hello. Ooh, pumpkin. Oh, this is this bridge. We didn't fight the wolves earlier. Ooh. Let's take them out. Where are they? Come here. Where'd you go? Come back here. Okay, well, I know where the body is of this one. Ah, trying to sneak up on me. Oh, then they both dropped right there. Oh, what? Don't get any ideas. Yeah, you keep over there. So, upon this bridge, oh, I'll face this way, is where we shall end the episode and continue with our further quest to try to get some progress, maybe even on the main quest. So catch y'all next time.